In this video, we're going to have a look at a couple of indicators that could be useful when you're actually charting. So we're going to stick to the daily time frame for this example. And we're going to look at the current price of Bitcoin, which is sitting at 67,800. Now we're going to go over to the indicators tab on TradingView and type in EMA. This one here. Let's just put that in favorites as well. Let's get a few of them out. Okay, so they're all set to 9. The first one we want to set to, so we go to settings, is the 50. Second one we want to set to is 55. And the third one is going to be the 100. And the fourth one is going to be the 200. Fifth one is going to be the 800. And we're going to need the 5. And 13. Okay, we better change the colors. So let's change the 52. Let's go to style. We will change that to purple. Let's make that a bit thicker. 55. We will change that to green. And we won't make that one thick. The 100, we can change that to white. Let's make that thick. The 200, we can change that to blue. And the 800, we're going to change that to more of a red color. Let's make that thick. And the 5 and the 13 are going to be quite simple. We'll change those to the yellow for the 5. And the 13, we're going to change that to orange. I think I'm happy with those colors. Okay, so we can see the current price of Bitcoin has lost all EMAs. I mean, especially the 82 level, which was the 800. Now, what I've done is I've taken some off the screen just to not make it overcomplicated. So we can see that the 800 has crossed the 50 EMA, and we can see that the current price of Bitcoin is consolidating in this range here. It looks like we're going to break down, but more likely we probably will test this 50 EMA, which is coming down here. Now, for a trading perspective, everything changes. For example, we are actually above the 50 EMA on the 1 hour time frame. So how could we trade this price action? So it's very easy to understand this price action. We're going to flip over to the 100, switch that back on, and we're also going to have the 200 back on, and we won't have the 5 and 13 just yet, but we can see from these EMAs how we're bouncing in between them. So we can see we're bouncing between these two EMAs, but we're above the 50. So if I was to take a long position, it's very, very simple. By using these EMAs, how I would take this above. I would have my stop loss just underneath there, so 0.8 stop loss. If I was in a swing position, I would definitely cover it down to about there, but I'm talking about like a day trade. And we can see here liquidity levels. These are liquidity levels 1, 2, 3. So my target is first going to be this liquidity level, and this liquidity level will be target number 2, and this liquidity level. So these EMAs, just by looking at the EMAs, we can see, that we are actually above. This is when we were below, and this is when we are actually above. So we can actually plan for trade. Now, some may call this a breakout trade, and yes, it's very similar to a breakout trade. Could you enter from here to be safer? Yes, I am actually long from here currently at the moment. And the only problem with this is you have to cover this wick here. So you'll have to use 1% stop loss, but my stop loss is a bit tight. And I'm only 50% into the trade currently at the moment. So, sorry about that. We're only risking a small amount, risking $419 to make $3,328. Now, when we have a look at this, let's say on a 4-hour time frame, we can see that, let's get rid of that. We can see that we do have resistance on here. So these are our EMAs, and we do have resistance, the same type of resistance, but we also have good buybacks in these areas, 1, 2, and 3. So I'm just going to draw a quick line here, because if we do break this level, it looks like we'll come back and sweep this. So looking at these EMAs again, which are quite important to have with other indicators and as part of your strategy. You can't rely just on these EMAs. You have to use other indications as well. Now, if I go to, let's say, a fixed range, and I take the low to the top, I can actually see that we're actually above the point of control on this lower price range, or this local level that we're bouncing in between. But if we take a fixed range from, say, like an 1 hour chart, it shows us a different picture. So if we take this and just pick this range, we can see we're above the point of control, and we are actually supported by the EMAs. So the 1 hour chart is quite reliable. It's a good chart to actually trade from, like a day trade. Not scalping, but more of a day trade going into like a bit of a swing trade. Now, no matter how you pull your volume profile, all these time frames, we are still rejecting this blue EMA. And the blue EMA is your 200. So this 200 EMA. So that's the only EMA we need to focus on. If we come back into this zone, let me just move that there. 66, let's say 600. If we lose that, we can come back and sweep these liquidity levels that we have underneath here. So using the EMA and us looking at the liquidities levels, we can actually plan for a trade. So we have a couple of trades here that we could plan for. One would be a long position here. Okay, so this would be like, you could actually take a long here, and that would be very tight stop loss of 0.7, targeting those highs again. Now that is a good risk reward trade here. So I would wait for price to come back down here and actually take this trade. But let's say that doesn't happen. Well, the second trade we can take from these EMAs and volume profile is very simple. If we break above 81, let's say 81 100, we can actually target these here, and it's very simple. You'd use the same stop loss, like a 0.7 stop loss, because if we break below the blue 200 EMA, we're just going to come back into this range again. So it's very, very easy how to use these EMAs with volume profile and to get your entry and your, well, not your exit, but I would say your entry of your trade as accurate as you can using tight risk management. I hope this video has helped.